What's up, everyone? Will Mosley here. I make content about the creative process. Anything, I pretty much make films, podcasts, articles, social posts, everything you can think of about the creative process. And today I want to talk about a light carry that I've pretty much established over the past couple of months. A lot of times, like, being a dad, and I find this mostly on Sundays, uh, that I just want the absolute lightest carry that I can have because I want to just focus on my kids. I don't want to focus on having a big old backpack, and usually it means I'm wearing swimming shorts or something like that because we're probably going to the lake or whatever that might be. Uh, Driving right now, I'm also on the Zoom H1N, not the Zoom H4N Pro, so you might hear a little bit more background than you're used to. I'm probably going to set on the AC, so bear with me just 1 second. All right, hopefully that's a little better. I guess when I get to a stoplight, I'll do the whole works of rolling all the windows up and everything. But pretty much I want to talk about just a very light carry that I've created that handles the majority of everything I need to do. And not just for family day, like for probably 80 to 90% of what I do. If you need a promotional film, let me know. Go to heywillmosley.com to get a film from me on the weekend. I've had so many people comment and let me know they love the style, love the vibe that my films give. They're very. I guess the biggest thing that everyone said is it feels like they're there. It feels like they're there with me. And I'd love to be able to kind of replicate that for you. Like, it feels like the person is at your store. It feels like the person is with you. So let me know. Only weekends, so that's a thing. But go to heywillmosley.com to get your quote and get started. All right, I'm gonna embrace the hot car. I'm gonna embrace it. Actually, the air is I'm starting to feel the air, so this is not super bad. But it's hard to tell on these summer days when it's like you got nice wind, but you also want to get nice audio. I'm pretty sure I'm 1% in the in this. I want to get nice audio, but I also want the windows down. All right, stop geeking out. All right. To all seriousness, so what does this bag need to have to be able to do 80 to 90% of what I do? Well, for one, the bag needs to be small. And if I happen to get this bag by chance just by buying the DJI Spark combo pack. It came with like a little carry bag with it. And we're talking about just a shoulder bag. So that's what we're talking about right now. It's literally just something you throw over the shoulder, and it's probably maybe a foot long, maybe 3/4 of a foot in length, and then I'd say 2 to 3 inches wide. It's very small, but it's perfect because of the size. I can just throw it on my shoulder, and that's it. So that's the size limits that we're kind of looking at. You can do something similar. And I also have a backpack that's much bigger than this thing, but I'm not going to get into any of the backpack carry. I'm going to talk about specifically what goes in this bag and then like the camera that I usually carry with it. So if you want to think of that as a pair. So what's in the bag, or in the whatever you want to call it? What's in the bag? Well, the main thing that takes up the most space in the bag is the DJI Spark. It fits perfectly in there, obviously because it was made for the bag, but it fits perfectly vertically or horizontally. I have the Spark laid out horizontally in the bag, and it gives just enough space to fit the remote controller in there. So that's what's taking up the bulk of the bag. Then I actually have, let's kind of just go back to my camera that I carry with me typically everywhere. And this doesn't have to go every single place, especially on family day, but it's typically I have something over my shoulder and then I have the camera with me. The camera is the Canon SL2. It typically has the 24mm 2.8 on it, which is a very small pancake lens, lightweight. And then I also have the Rode Video Go mic on that. So it's just literally a plug and play mic. I also have a dead cat on top because I'm usually out in the wild. By wild, I mean just running and gunning, not tigers and bears. Oh my! And then I also have the Joby Gorilla Pod with the ball head attachment. That's my primary setup, for better, for worse. So going back to this bag, we have the drone. We have the remote controller to the drone. And then, of course, you need a phone to... You don't have to keep a separate phone, but I do. And this is it's big, and it's definitely how I've been able to get drone shots quickly. I've made like 3 or 4 different pieces of content about, drones, like in depth. So I won't talk too much about this, but if you're interested in flying drones or what you need, etc., check out my YouTube video on Game of Drones Part 1 or Game of Drones Part 2, or even the deep dive on the podcast if you scroll a little bit further back. So I keep a separate phone. This is literally $100 phone. It's a J7, Samsung J7. And it has 128 gigs of storage, which is nice because I can record the chase data from the DJI Spark down to the phone. So just in case I lose the Spark, I technically have a running log of what it was already recording. So that's always nice as a little tiny backup. I don't think the footage is as good, but it is something still. That actually, and you could slide, if you're thinking about recreating your own bag, this is just my own specific bag, but you can probably do the exact same thing. The DJI's little carrying case actually has a little in the flap that closes, like it's a flap that's just zips up at the very top. In that flap that's the top of the bag, it actually has a little spot where you can pretty much put like headphones or something along those lines. I actually slide the phone in that little spot. It stays. You could equally put it in the bag. It doesn't take that much space up. It's a phone. Now, a couple other things that are in this bag. I actually have my 50mm 1.8 lens in this bag, and that's actually a little bit bigger than the 24mm. I took the cap off of it. Do this at your own discretion, but nothing else is going to be in the bag except for those couple of things. So I'm not worried about anything shaking around and it not getting scratched. By taking that lid off, I have just enough space to fit it on top of the spot where the drone is, like in between where the wings are, and it closes perfectly. And so, of course, the 24mm allows me to get the majority of my shots where I'm pointing the camera out at myself, but the 50mm also allows me to get really clean, beautiful shots of people or close-ups of products. It's just a great all-around budget lens. Now, what else do I have in this bag? This is pretty dope. So the bag actually has one little tiny zipper pocket on the outside of it, and I'm able to fit the Zoom H4n Pro. If you've seen the Zoom H4n Pro, I've made a vlog or so about this thing too, so just go to my YouTube channel and look for Zoom H4n Pro. It's brick. It's like it's big, but it's not too big. It's like it's like the size of the iPhone XS Max with the width of about an inch or half an inch, maybe quarter or three-fourths of an inch. So it's a brick, but it does so much stuff. I used to take this thing for granted until I realized the capabilities of this thing. And I'm just going to talk for just a smidge about it real quick, because this is why I have it in my thing. It's pretty much the ultimate audio assistant, audio whatever, for what you know, for podcasting, for voiceover, for screencasting, for all that stuff, for pretty much all that stuff. It allows you to plug 2 XLR mics into it, which I don't use as often, but for any podcasting, any type of like collaboration stuff, that is definitely a go-to of what I kind of set up, if it's specifically for like a video podcast type of thing where mics are expected to be in the scene. I also use the Zoom H4n Pro. It is what you mainly hear me on every single day from the podcast. I literally plug headphones into it and put the mic level down to 20 and just record from there. I've talked a little bit about this, about how to get clean audio in a podcast previous, so scroll down, look for that. And it also doubles for screen recording. I have a little cord that I can plug into my computer for it, and I can use the mic for voiceover for Final Cut Pro or Camtasia, which is beautiful. It works really good. On the Zoom H4n Pro, I also have a like a piece of foam. I don't know the exact name for it. I'm sure there is one that goes over top the mic so that I don't pop the thing every time I talk to it. Whenever I'm doing it on the computer, though, I do still need to do it in front of like a pop screen, because my P's and my S's are pretty intense. But it works great. Now, that's actually paired with a set of headphones, I'm talking about the cheapest headphones you can get. And so I usually just wrap those around the Zoom H4n Pro. It's a $7 pair of wired headphones. And that fits snugly into the back. It fits snugly into that zipper pocket at the very front of it. It's a tight fit, but it fits perfect. There's actually enough room in there for me to fit another recorder, but I'll talk about that in a second. So what else is in the bag? Well, there is one more thing in the bag, and that's not to say there can't be a couple more things in this thing, even though that would be a tight fit. And by a couple things, I'd say cell phones. Like if I wanted to carry a couple more cell phones with me, that would be about the most that could fit into it. Aside from the Zoom aside from the Zoom H1N, or am I saying that right now? Yeah, Zoom H1, Zoom H1N. I think that's right. Okay, this thing is perfect. It's actually what I'm talking to you on right now, and I've had my love-hates with this thing of understanding how it works. And this is nothing against the Zoom H1 or Zoom H4n Pro. I think it was more my understanding of how audio just works in general. And now that I've gotten to that pillar of understanding a little bit more about audio quality and how it actually scientifically how it works, the waves, stuff like that, I can use this thing just like I would use the Zoom H1N Pro or a Zoom H4n Pro similarly. This thing fits just right next to the controller. right kind of in between the drone. I just kind of slide it down vertically, and that's it. So why do I have two recorders in here instead of one? Well, the reason is, pretty simple. My Zoom H4 Pro died today, just because I forgot to bring batteries with me, which, batteries would have kept it alive and I wouldn't have had to switch to something else. But hey, I actually have a recorder with me. Good backup. Bam. And also, it's very possible that I may want to have a backup source of audio while recording something important, which I actually should have done today. I was on break doing a screen recording, and it literally just the Zoom 4. Oh my God! Why do they have to name them so many different weird things? Zoom H4 Pro died halfway through, and pretty much botched the whole thing. But lessons learned. And then thirdly, technically I have the camera. The camera can put out good audio too, but it's nothing comparatively to what I can get straight from these recorders, as long as I can monitor the source. So right now I have this thing actually at 50 gain, and then on the Zoom H4 Pro I have it at 20 gain. So it kind of gives you an idea of like the sound floor of each of these things, where I had to put this thing up to 50 for you to hear me, and it's probably picking up other stuff, but the other one, it's only 20. Okay, now that combined, I also carry a couple of things in my pocket, which technically counts as my carry. So we have this bag where you literally have a drone in a small little bag that's smaller than a purse, or comparatively to a purse, that can get aerial footage, super wide shots. You have a camera on you that can get most everything you need with the 24mm, and then also get beautiful close-ups with the 50mm. You also have a very professional podcasting recorder that you can use to obviously get really clean audio, a backup recorder if need be. The camera that's being used as a drone is also a backup camera too. It has 128 gigs on it. The quality isn't perfect. It's nothing to brag about, but it works as a camera. You know what I mean? You can use it. So if I'm like out with the kids and I don't feel like bringing a big old camera, well, what I'm going to probably do is reach in my pocket where I have an iPhone SE, just another random, phone, which I've been using right now for my camera B. My RX 100 was my camera B. I don't know how many times I have to tell myself and everyone else that it's dead and gone due to a drop. But so I've been using just the iPhone, like a regular iPhone, for my camera B. So technically, the drone camera, the operating phone for the drone, is technically like camera C if I really needed it to be. Yeah, and I also keep a GoPro in my pocket. This is just it pretty much has like barely. I need to get a mount for the car, and this thing will start to work its way back into my life much more. But as of right now, I'm literally just using it to get really wide establishing shots, and those are a few, and there are a few. They're not. It's not being used to the best of its capabilities. So ideally, I want to put a mount on the front of the van when I get paid, and drive around Asheville once a week, slowly downtown, and let the camera record for that 30 minutes of whatever, and then I can use all those location shots in the films, and that will be, that will be a much better use of the GoPro, because it's stabilized on the hood of the car. It's getting 30 minutes of location shots, which I can use throughout the week of the city that I love, and instead of just being in my pocket and barely being used. So let's take a break, and I want to talk about just pretty much really a wrap up of what we talked about and how in application I'm using it in my day-to-day life. Wheel here, obviously. Have you thought about have you thought about an e-commerce store? Have you thought about, building one out? I know I have. I know I started my web life thinking like I was going to be this mad web genius that compiled Facebook, right? A lot of developers do. And there's a lot of benefit to building your own thing from scratch. But there's also a lot of hassle to building your own thing from scratch. That is why I actually recommend you let Squarespace or one of the just, regular visual builders that you kind of see being promoted on YouTube. I don't know about Wix, but Squarespace, because I use Squarespace. Not sponsored by, anything, but is a really good one. It works well. It's perfect. It's amazing. It just works well, and you don't have to know that much about the web. I completely understand if you don't like Squarespace though, or you just don't want to make a website. That's where I can come in and I can help you either set up your own Squarespace website. A lot of times it'll be very templatey, and it takes a little bit of grit to get it to the customization, the perfection that you want it to be. I can definitely help with that, and I can do that for you. Or if you need something on a bigger scale, that's what I've spent my whole career, over 10 years, doing, building very custom solutions that are able to handle like millions of dollars worth of sales and things along those lines. I get it. I get both sides of the spectrum. So whether you're tiny and just need a little extra help to get something set up, or you're trying to set up something crazy advanced that you want someone to do, professionally and quickly, I can help you on the weekend. So go over to heywillmosley.com and we'll make it happen. All right, Will back here from the Will Break. Yeah. Anyways, so this little tiny bag, why is it so important that it's small and like what I have in it? Like, as this has been over a couple months, but over the last half year, I enjoy Family Day because I love the fact that my mind's not completely focused on like, wow, let me make the best shot I can get and let me do all this stuff, but somehow I end up actually making the best films those days, I think, because I'm carrying the least amount of gear. Come on. When someone stops and doesn't go when you're trying to let them over, yeah, that just happened. So what's great about this little tiny shoulder bag is it actually fits into my bigger backpack. I lay it flat and put it in there, and my backpack actually has a lot of other type of gear that I use on a day-to-day basis, but maybe not every single day, or maybe not at every point of the day. Like the shoulder bag is like I can pull something out right now and bam, I got what I need. The book bag's more like I can pull this out when I get to location or get home or get wherever, and there it is. Very quickly, what's in my book bag, and this changes plenty, but I figure I just throw it in just so you have context, is my book bag obviously has a MacBook Pro 2015, late 2015, and it works like a charm. Crazy 4 years later. It also has 2 hard drives, like, just external hard drives in it, small. The LaCie one and then the solid state one is actually in my pocket. I keep a duplicate of those. And then it also has the 75 to 300 mil lens. And then in the front pockets are 2 microphones and another Zoom H1N. And then for the most part, it's like just cords and stuff. That's about all that I carry in addition in the book bag. The cool thing is that I can actually break the camera down and put it in the book bag, and that be it. If the laptop somehow was foldable into a small little size, I probably wouldn't have the book bag to begin with. But it's always nice, like if you're out, say I go to the grocery store and I have a backpack on and I'm on my lift board, I can throw something in the bag and still enough space there. So that's cool. And like I said, this thing changes quite often, but that's what I got right now. What's also in my pockets is my keys, my lift board remote that's attached to my keys, an iPhone 6S. That's my main phone, like my main calling whatever phone. And that's in my left pocket, and the iPhone SE is in my right pocket, which I mainly just use for a camera or a backup, phone when my other phone's dead. It's kind of excessive. It's just one of those things where you just continue to accumulate more phones as you get more phones, and so you just give them different life cycles or different tasks to do. And then in my back pocket, my back left pocket, I usually keep batteries. And then in my front left pocket, I usually keep the dead battery, so I kind of know that I'm going to get a fresh battery every time I go to my back pocket. I also keep 2 knives on me, really 3. And yeah, that's about it. So back to like how this fits into my day-to-day, it's just one of those things where with kids, you usually need 2 hands. And having something that you can literally sling over your shoulder that has everything you need in it just makes a lot of sense. Alright, well, I hope that helped maybe inspire you to create your own little small kit, to maybe start producing better films, or kind of figuring out what it is that you actually really need. That's the cool thing about this. It's like, what do I actually need? I have a lot of gear. I have a lot of stuff that I might use here and there. That's kind of like, I want it to be what it is. Like a tripod that I have that costed $100. But what do I actually use every single day, and how can I squeeze the most out of all this? And that's about it. Alright, so I'm actually interested to hear what the audio sounds like from this Zoom H1N, this Zoom H1N, and comparatively to the Zoom H4N Pro. Is there a big difference? Is it just minuscule? If so, that's dope. That's crazy cool. Alright, I'll stop yammering and talking your head off. Remember, if you need a promotional film or an e-commerce store, hit me up at heywillmosley.com. And go subscribe over to my YouTube channel, please. It would help a million. Alright, talk to you guys on the next one. Bye.